And I am live. This is your boy Tico, Tren, SYSBM, and I'm going to talk about divulging too much information to a woman for all intents and purposes. Because when you divulge too much information to a woman, that's detriment to your well-being as a man for all intents and purposes. Because the sad part about that, when you do that, you set yourself up for failure for all intents and purposes, or you set yourself up for things that won't always go your way or won't always pan out in your favor. And the sad part about that is when you do that, you tend to have a lot of women who will like use that to their advantage against you for all intents and purposes to basically use it against you. And that's typically how this stuff works. And the sad part about that, if you haven't learned that as a man, that you can't really divulge too much information to a woman, you automatically off the bat have problems off the bat for all intents and purposes. Because at the end of the day, what you can't do is rely heavily on a woman to basically, what's up, Shinobi One? You can't rely heavily on a woman to basically, you know, to to have all your information because she will use it against you. It's just facts. No matter how much you like to believe or dream that she won't, she will. The sad part about that, a lot of men do this and they do it to their detriment. And that's a problem that a lot of men face in this day and age, is they do this shit not really fully thinking out the consequences of their actions for all intents and purposes, and it sucks, and it really does suck. So I'm totally against divulging any and all information. Well, most information about yourself, especially your deepest, darkest secrets, especially if it's something that's you or about you. Because the sad part about that, in this age of trial by social media, that shit could be used against you, despite the fact that everybody else might be okay with it, but everybody can use it against you to basically destroy you and your character. And that's a problem that a lot of people have with doing this. This is a problem that a lot of men have doing this shit. Because at the end of the day, the more secrets and deep dark secrets you expose about yourself to a woman, the more she's going to disrespect you, and the less she's going to actually have respect for you. And the sad part about that is that information is not going to stay between her. It's going to go between her girlfriends. It's going to go between everybody else under the fucking sun. So now that information is not just with her. That information is fucking everywhere because that's women for you and they talk. And the sad part about that is I made a video about this where I said women would get mad if a man was to tell anything about their sex life to his best friends, but it's perfectly fine for a woman to tell anything about her sex life and or what you got going on or your shortcomings or your health or anything about you to her friends. It's perfectly fine. But you can't tell anything about her to your friends because you're being disrespectful to the relationship, quote unquote. That's typically how that shit works. And the sad part about that, there's not a man alive. There is not a fucking man alive in a relationship whose woman has not divulged any information about him to her friends. It's just facts. There ain't nobody out there. There ain't that much Dom game out there to do that. There ain't nothing out there that will make a woman not divulge any information to her best friends. It don't matter how much you're paying her. It don't matter how much she's on the payroll. It don't matter none of that shit. Because at the end of the day, what you fail to realize is women are gonna divulge information about you no matter what. And the sad part about that, we got people who live in the world of unicorns and rainbows who believe all of a sudden because she's a woman, she would never do something like that. And the sad part about that is nothing could be far from the fucking truth. At the end of the day, she's going to divulge information about you to her friends, no matter what it is. It could be you have like anything for all intents and purposes. Now think about anything that you wouldn't want out there in public. Your girlfriend's going to tell on you. If you had a problem with getting up, her friends know. If you had a problem with your health, her friends know. If you cheated on her or she believes you're cheating on her, her friends know. The sad part about that is the shit doesn't even have to be a true story, but as long as she tells her friends first, it's pretty much word it's pretty much the truth for all intents and purposes. Because men have a problem with believing that, you know, the lovely person that they refer to as their lovely significant other is always going to keep that information to herself or keep that information in general for all intents and purposes. And it sucks because you're living in a world of fantasy if you believe that a woman is going to keep any information to her fucking self. You're living in a world of make believe for all intents and purposes.
And the sad part about that is a lot of men fall for this fucking trap. A lot of men fall into this whole entire thing on a regular fucking basis and don't even realize that they're falling into this mess when they actually do it. And it's sad. It is very fucking sad to watch men fall into shit not knowing that they're falling into shit. It is probably the most saddest thing in the whole entire world that a man can do to his fucking self is fall into a fucking trap where he believes that he he believes that he is the only his wife or his significant other is the only person he knows any information about you. But the sad part about that, women are like social media. It's out there. It's on the internet already. No matter how much you like it or not, so many women know about you before you even laid your head on a pillow that night. So many women know about you before you even stepped outside the house. The sad part about that is the best way to viscerally describe that to you is next time you're hanging out with your girlfriend or your significant other and her friends, pay attention to how her friends look at you or act towards you or
Basically act towards you or behave with you for all intents and purposes. They pretty much know information about you when they start acting a certain way or they act like they're dicks and stuff like that towards you. They know the deepest, darkest, most thickest information about you because women are always going to tell on you. Same thing goes for your sexual preferences, what you like in the bedroom, um, you name it, anything. Your health, if you have ED, if you take Viagra, if you have high blood pressure, if you have diabetes, if you're going to die soon, how broke you are, if you're losing your job, if you can't have children, if you want to have children, if you want to have children, or if you don't, the list goes fucking on. The list goes fucking on the shit that she's willing to actually divulge about you. And the sad part about that, we live in a day and age with a bunch of men who are raised by single mothers who are willing to just throw their information out there to women. Now it's one thing to throw your information out there to Google and YouTube and all them people who basically collect data on your ass. It's a whole nother thing to throw your information out there to women. Because at least like Google, their goal is to basically make money off your information so they can actually direct products towards you. Whereas women, when they divulge information about you, it's pretty much either destroy your character or set you up for failure. So when they leave you, they basically have they have the burden of proof over on their side and all their friends over there as the open diaries to your life for all intents and purposes, and that's typically how it works. But a lot of men don't seem to understand that, and nor do a lot of men get that, and they always fall into this fucking trap of they think that they're safe because they divulge the information to their significant other. Don't divulge information that you don't want out there to your significant other, unless it's something that you're willing. And it's true. Like, it's true. What's up, Show LB1? That's very true. Yeah, attention is her currency. And this is what a lot of men forget. Attention is a woman's currency. The more attention she can get, the more currency she's getting. The more information she can divulge on you, the more attention she can get, the better her currency. The more currency she can get for all intents and purposes. Because at the end of the day, it's all about attention. It's all about attention and contact. The more attention and the more skin contact she can get, the better she feels about herself for all intents and purposes. And it's sad. It's very sad. It's very sad, but that's basically how it works. So at the end of the day, currency is not just currency to women. Attention is currency to women. Status is currency to women. What they're doing. So basically, attention in general is important to women. So the reason why women post pictures of them being on a trip without no boyfriend, it's all about getting attention from simp ass men for all intents and purposes, and men that wish they were there with her, that could put some suntan lotion on her, shit like that for all intents and purposes, because women do that shit on a regular basis and men don't even realize they're doing it. It's just facts. But the sad part about that is a lot of men get caught up in a situation where they believe that these women are for them. And it's sad, but they're really not for you. They're really against you. And the sad part about that, the faster you figure this out, the faster you learn this, the better off you'll be. Don't divulge information to women unnecessarily, because that would be your downfall if you do so. So never divulge women, never divulge information to women at all if you're in a relationship with one, because it's going to be out there on Front Street with her friends, with her friends' friends. Everybody in the fucking neighborhood is going to know about everything about you by the time you lay your head down on a pillow that night. Hell, it's even faster than that. Everybody in the neighborhood is going to know about you by the time you get back home from work or the time you clock out for lunch and go to lunch. It's just facts. So any information you give to a woman is going to be handed off to a woman, another woman that's going to be handed off to another woman, that's going to be handed off to a guy, that's going to be handed off to a woman. It's pretty much going to be tea. It's pretty much going to be the tea spill for all intents and purposes. It's the best way I can actually put it to you in visceral terms. It'd be no different than a spilling the tea on you. And the sad part about that is men forget about this shit and they never learn from this shit, and they always end up in a mess like this. And the sad part about that is it's your fault. You have nobody else to blame but yourself. When you put out too much information on yourself, it's only your fault that she's actually rolling on you or disrespects you or has very little to no respect for you. It's your fucking fault. Never, ever, ever, ever do that. Like I said, anytime in my life where I ever had to cry, I never cried in front of a woman. Never once cried in front of a woman. I would rather cry in my car. I've never once cried in front of a woman. Because at the end of the day, the minute you cry in front of a woman, that's the minute she starts losing respect for you. That's the minute when she starts talking shit on you and talking shit behind your back about you. Because at that point in time, you became very weak to her. You're very weak. You're a weak-willed man because you cried in front of her at the end of the fucking day. That's the sad part. That is the very sad truth of reality of the day. You're a weak-willed man because you cried in front of her. And the sad part about that is, in this day and age where people say it's good for men to show their emotions, no, it's not. It's good for a man to show his emotions so she could pretty much destroy you verbally, mentally, and physically. That's the only reason why it's good to show your emotions, so she can destroy your ass. That's all it really is. She just wants to destroy your ass. And the sad part about that, a lot of men fall for this shit on a regular fucking basis. And they don't seem to get why it's not the greatest idea in the world not to divulge information on themselves. And it's sad, and it's the most sickest shit in the whole entire world that you can ever think of to do to a person. But the sad part about that is women are willing to do it to a man. It may not be right now, but just know the shit is coming, and it's going to be very swift, and it's going to suck very badly for all intents and purposes. Because there's not too many people in this world that can actually say divulging information to their significant other, their female significant other, was the greatest idea in the world. There's not too many people in the world that can actually do that. I mean, there's one thing to know what your significant other's likes, and I mean, it's one thing to know what your significant other's preference is when it comes to dating. It's a whole nother thing to know what, your deepest, darkest secrets, because those deepest, darkest secrets can be used against you. Typically, how this works is when you tell your significant other or your wife about your deepest, darkest sexual secrets, you're basically opening yourself up for sabotage or, to be destroyed for all intents and purposes, because that shit's going to be out there on Front Street. That shit's going to be out there. It's basically like the internet. When you tell a woman, it's the internet. The internet, anything that you put on the internet never goes away. It's always going to be there. And the sad part about that is men tend to forget this shit when they do it. Or they tend to live in this world of unicorns and rainbows when they divulge this type of information about themselves. The sad part about that is you can't do that, and you can't do that for you can't do that for the fact that it's going to destroy you. It's going to affect your whole entire fucking life if you do that shit. And the sad part about that is she's going to revel in it, and she's going to have fun in it. And the sad part about that is the more it happens, the more she talks to her friends about it, the more secrets she divulges, the more respect she loses for you. Each passing time, she says it to her friends, because the sad part about that is It's not just going through her mind, it's going through her friend's mind, and her friends are talking to her about it. And the sad part about that, now your ass is on blast, and now your ass is,
now they're looking at you all side eye and shit like that, like you're a weird ass motherfucker. For you're a weirdo, no, for all intents and purposes. And the sad part about that is, don't ever do that shit. Don't ever put yourself in a situation where you're going to be destroyed. Like I said, it's totally different if it's all about if your significant other knows what your dating preferences are. That's a different animal. That's a totally different animal. That's okay. That way, you at least know that you're not going to get yelled at or skipped on because she knows your dating preferences for all intents and purposes, and she's not going to accuse you of cheating all the fucking time for the fact that she knows your dating preferences. That's one thing. That's all one thing. That's one thing off altogether. Knowing your favorite color, that's different. Knowing your dating preferences, that's different. Knowing your favorite number or your favorite food, that's different too. Those are all different things. However, when it comes to like secrets that you don't want everybody else to know, all bets are off, and your ass is about to be burned by your girl. For all intents and purposes, it is what it is. Yeah, and it is. Well, and the sad part about that, yeah, it is. But the sad part about that is, it don't matter if you want to get into a relationship. It could be like a friendship. Women are going to tell other women about you. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be a relationship. It could be a friendship with a girl. She's going to tell this shit about you. It doesn't matter. It could be your coworker, your coworkers. Like a good example of that, think of it like this. You've been to work, you say one thing, or something, you post one thing, or you say one thing to a female, and now everybody in the fucking workplace knows about it. That's how fast this shit goes around. That's typically how this works. Women are willing to tell other women, even if you say it's a secret, women will talk about you to other women. It is what it is. Yeah, and the sad part about that is it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship with a woman. It don't matter if you're a friendship, a co-workership, a female, your family. All females are going to roll on you and just throw you under the bus for any shape, any given reason when it comes down to it. They're going to divulge information about you because at the end of the day, it's all about them. It's all about how they can better themselves and make it out of this situation looking better than you can, for all intents and purposes. And the sad part about that is never give away secrets about what you got going on in your life to any woman from any walk of life. It don't matter if she's your friend. It don't matter if she's your sister. It don't matter if she's your cousin. It don't matter if she's your aunt, your grandma, any fucking baddie. It don't matter if she's your fucking coworker, your supervisor, anybody. Because the sad part about that, even supervisors run their fucking mouths about you to other women. Especially if they're women, they run their mouths to you about you to other women, and it's just facts. And the sad part about that, what's up, Americus? The sad part about that, men forget this shit, and they forget that they're always under the microscope, and they forget that it's fine for the women to do this to you, but it'll be hard pressed to find a woman that'll be okay for you to talk about anything she got going on in the household, but you can't talk about, but she can talk about anything about you outside the household. And then that's the thing that I love about this. Is the thing that makes it funny about women. Women will run their mouths to their friends, even if it's a secret. But the minute you start talking about something she did wrong, you're wrong and you're out of line for telling your friends about their stuff. And the sad part about that is it doesn't fucking matter what you think was going on, or how much dom game you got, or how dominant you think you are, or how much BDSM you got going on in your fucking house. It doesn't matter. They're still, like America said, and like I said, they're going to roll on your ass to their friends. And the sad part about that is it don't matter how dom you are in your house when you actually spit truth or do this shit. The fact of the matter is, she's going to tell you that you're wrong for divulging information to your fucking friends. It's just facts. But she can do it to her. She can do it with her friends, but you can't do that shit
You can't do that shit with your friends. You can't tell them about her stubbing her toe. You can't tell her about her having a bloody nose or her being on her period or her kisses suck or her sex sucks or she's not giving you sex or any of that shit. You can't divulge any of that information about her. Even if you're not getting sex, you can't divulge none of that information about her. But she can divulge any and all information about you because at the end of the day, women sees that as different. She tells her friends. It's different if you tell your friends. It's way different if you tell your friends about her. And this is typically why women always tell you to keep a secret. And the sad part about that is you ask them, can you keep a secret? You tell them that shit. They'll say yes. And then it's around the whole entire fucking campfire or the water cooler at work or the whole entire family. The sad part about that, women suck at keeping secrets. Women just suck at keeping secrets. This is typically why you got to keep shit to your fucking self. No matter if it's a coworker or family or if you're in a relationship, keep that shit to your fucking self. Keep your fucking mouth shut. As they say in the hood, keep your mouth shut, put your head down, and stick to the script. That's technically all you really have to do in a relationship. Keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, and stick to the script. Unfortunately, we live in a day and age where niggas just we unfortunately nobody actually knows that code anymore, and everybody's willing to snitch on every fucking body in this day and age. And that's the sad part about it. There's no fucking loyalty in this world. Even with the men in this world, there's no fucking loyalty amongst men in this world. Because a lot of these motherfuckers are raised by single mothers or mothers that were overbearing or wore the pants in a fucking house. And this is typically what you're raised by, and this is typically what you're going to see growing up for all intents and purposes, because it is what it is. You were raised by a single mother, so you're going to act accordingly. You're going to act as such for all intents and purposes for that reason. You're going to act just like your mother, or you're going to act somewhat like your mother, or you're going to act like a percentage of your mother for all intents and purposes, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. You can't divulge. You can't let women in on any information about you, even if they're sleeping next to you. Just because they're sleeping next to you, and you give them sex, and you bend them over every now and again, and you put their leg up, and you make them all flexible, and you make them bitches look like ballerinas in a bedroom, or you got them hanging from fucking chandeliers, or you got them in a fucking slave swing, a slave sex swing, or you're spanking them, and you got them all bound and gagged. That don't mean they're not snitching on you or rolling on you about your preferences and what you like going on in your bed, what you got going on in your household and in your bedroom. They're always going to roll on you. This is how women are. No matter who you are, no matter how important you are, no matter why you are. This is why men who actually work for certain agencies in the government shouldn't have wives or are not able to have wives because women will run off at the mouth and blow your fucking cover. This is why this is why men who actually work in clandestine clandestine field of the government don't tell their wives what they're doing. This is why they're like shoe salesmen or fucking you know auto salesman or shit along the lines of that, or an analyst or people like that for all intents and purposes, because women talk too fucking much. This is why you're sworn to secrecy, because you can't tell your wife because she'll snitch on you and be don't put your whole entire fucking information out there. No pillow talk, like America said. All that pillow talk goes out the window to her, but all that pillow talk for you, it's like Vegas. It happens in Vegas. It stays in Vegas. However, on her side, pillow talk pretty much is able to be told to anybody, everybody, and anybody in earshot that's willing to listen. Hell, if she gets mad at you one day on social media, she's putting that shit on blast on social media. It's just facts. It is what it is. And the sad part about that is you never want to divulge information to another woman. Nor do you want to divulge information to a bitch nigga man for all intents and purposes, because he's basically no different than a woman. He's going to go out there, be talking shit, and or twist what the fuck you got to say and make it sound like you're an evil person or a bad person for all intents and purposes. The sad part about that, there's a lot of bitch think men who do this shit on a regular basis, and they'll go and twist what you got to say because they can't, because they don't got the fucking balls to actually say what you actually said because they want to make you sound like you're worse than what you really are. Because there's a lot of bitch think men like that for all intents and purposes that do this shit on a regular fucking basis. And the sad part about that is you got to learn to see those people, notice those people, and get them out of your fucking group before any of that shit actually happens. And the sad part about that is, it is what it is. When you're surrounded by those people, you got to learn how to cut those people off. Because I don't got time for bitch think men. Bitch think men will actually run and tell information about you, or run and twist the information that you said to them to make it sound like, you know, that they're a victim for all intents and purposes, because that's all they do. Typically, with a lot of men in various in a certain group in the manosphere, I'm not going to say who they are. Well, two groups in the manosphere, emo black pillars and a certain group of black men. They basically are in a big circle jerk for all intents and purposes, telling each other that everything is fine and these people are wrong to be talking about these group of people, and these people are great people. No, those people are fuck ups. Those people are fuck ups. You don't glorify fuck ups. But the sad part about that, when you're black, you grew up in a black neighborhood, you grew up with a single mother, you grew up in bullshit and squalor, you tend to always want to, glorify stupid people for what they do. These are the same type of niggas that'll pretty much say something to the extent of Black Lives Matter when a cop shoots a black person, but it doesn't matter when another nigga shoots another nigga for all intents and purposes, because we can look the other way because Pookie and Ray Ray's great. But when the cops do it, that's a different story. But when Pookie and Ray Ray shoots about 4, 5, 6 people over the fucking holiday weekend, we look the other way on that. But when the cop shoots one black person, it's a problem. That's the problem with that group of black motherfuckers over there, because that's all they do is talk about, and they glorify motherfuckers that live in squalor. They glorify stupidity. They glorify fucking welfare queens. That's all they fucking do. So the sad part about that group of men actually have a shit ton of bitch thing going on in their fucking group. This is why I don't hang over in that group with that group of men. And this is typically why I don't really follow that group of men, because it's nothing but bitch think. That's all they think is bitch think over there. With that group of black men, they think bitch think all the fucking time. Welfare queens is good. Don't talk about welfare queens because they're queens. Don't talk about Pookie and Ray Ray because they're great men and they do good for our community. Yeah, they shoot everybody fucking in your community and destroy your fucking community. They're the reasons why the cops treat you like shit. But you can't see that. You're too busy trying to kiss Pookie and Ray Ray's ass and kiss welfare queen's ass. That's your fucking problem. This is why you live in squalor. This is why you don't get no fucking where. This is why you're mediocre niggas. I can't hang with mediocre niggers. It's that simple. I don't hang with mediocre. And the sad part about that, I can't even call you niggas because y'all ain't niggas, y'all niggers. Because that's all y'all do is do niggerish shit. Because y'all ain't my niggas. Y'all just do niggerish shit on a regular basis. Y'all kiss up to fucking welfare queens. Y'all kiss up to fucking Pookie and Ray Ray. And y'all wonder why y'all are where y'all are in y'all fucking neighborhood. That's all y'all fucking do. That's typically how this shit works. Then you want to get mad at people for talking about you for being mediocre. You're mediocre motherfuckers. Grow the fuck up, act like you got some sense, and better your fucking selves. That's typically how that shit works. Because I ain't got no problem with dumping on motherfuckers that want to act mediocre all the fucking time. That done got shit to say, that always preach the same shit over and over again and live the same mediocre squalor ass fucking life. You're ain't shit niggas, and you need to better yourself to be better niggas. It's that simple. But at the end of the day, never divulge information to a fucking woman. Unless it's your favorite color, your dating preferences, what type of food, your favorite number, shit like that. Surface level shit. That's the only thing you divulge to a woman, period. Let her figure out the rest of the shit in your fucking life. Because at the end of the day, if you just tell her everything, she loses. The more you tell her, the more respect she loses for you, and the more likely you are going to be easy to break up with when it's all said and done, when the smoke settles. Because at the end of the day, you lost that mysteriousness about yourself. The sad part about that, women love mysteriousness in men. The more you tell about yourself, the less mysterious you become, the more easy a target you become to a woman to basically skip on your dumb ass. That's typically how that is. That's typically how this works. The dating market's not for everybody. And the sad part about that, even when it comes to the non-dating market, when it comes to your coworkers, it's not for everybody. Not all your coworkers are for you, or going to be there for you for all intents and purposes. Some of them motherfuckers that's willing to roll on you just as much as the next person. It's that simple. Never put yourself in a situation that's going to screw yourself over. Never put yourself in a situation where you're going to be forced to put yourself in a position of less than in a woman for all intents and purposes. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you say or how you want to say it, any information you divulge to a woman actually puts you below a woman. If you started out above a woman or at the same level as a woman, anything you tell a woman that's a deep, dark secret, or if you cry in front of a woman or do any of this stuff in front of a woman, she starts losing respect for you every single time you open your fucking dumbass mouth to divulge anything outside of the baseline shit that you should be telling a woman. Only thing you should tell a woman, like I said, your dating preferences, your fucking favorite food, your fucking favorite color, your favorite number, and that's about it. That's all you should tell a woman if you're in a relationship with a woman. Let that bitch figure out what you got going on, or what else you like, or what else you're into. It's that simple. Because at the end of the day, most relationships fail for the fact that there's less mysteriousness. There's less mysteriousness in a relationship. It's that simple. In the famous words of Malcolm X, like America said, they will drive a knife in your back 6 inches, then pull it out 3 inches. Think about that shit. Think about that shit. That's some powerful words. A woman's willing to drive a knife in your back 6 inches, then pull it out 3 inches. What that means is she's only pulling out enough to keep your ass alive, to keep on pumping her full of information, so she can pretty much drive it back in again and pull it back out again. So that's all she's going to do. She's going to pull it out 3 inches so she can drive it back in 3 inches again, and pull it back out 3 inches so she can drive it back in 3 inches again. That's typically how that works. Each time you give her information, she's literally pulling the knife out 3 inches and driving it back in 3 inches. Pulling out 3 inches and driving it back in 3 inches every single time you give her a piece of information that's sacred to your fucking self. Don't divulge any information, sex in or otherwise, to a woman. Let that bitch figure it out when she's getting her back dug out. That's that simple. But if you want to be a bitch nigga and have bitch stink and hoe tendencies, do what you do and get screwed over. I can care less about you. This is Tico, Tren, SYSBM, and niggas out. Adios, my niggas.